It's not Firefest. It's not DashCon. It's not Astroworld 2.0. It's Woodstock 99 for emos. All right? It's a bad idea. We all know it. It's a cash grab. We all know it. And we're still signing up. Because you know why? It may go good. But most likely, there's just going to be a big fire and we're just going to be part of it. And like, that in itself is fun.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Arsenic and Espresso. I'm Alice Arsenic, this is my co-host Josh, and tonight we are talking about the very much anticipated, very full of our feeds, When We Were Young tour. Very full of our feeds? Very When We Were Young tour.
Yeah, if it's not on your social media for like the last 5 days straight, has it been in even 5 days? Maybe it's been like 4 days.
I don't even think it's been that long. It's been 3 days.
Yeah. So anyways, if it's not like constantly all over your feed since the 18th, then I kind of doubt your commitment to Sparkle Motion, right?
I agree. Yeah. Like where, I always joke that I don't listen to anybody and I listen to the same like 5 bands and I don't deviate, but like this was even on my radar and I miss everything. I am never aware of concerts that are happening. I am never aware of album releases or song releases or collaborations, music videos, none of it. I find out months after the fact. And so the fact that this was something I think I even knew before you.
Did you? Maybe.
I think I sent it to you first, which is so surprising. But I guess this episode we're going to talk about like what all of it means.
Because I think we all kind of go through, or at least, I don't know.
You know those 5 stages of grief?
Yeah.
Very similar.
Very similar. Because it was like, oh, this has to be fake. And then I was like, oh, this isn't fake. And then I actually paid attention to like what bands were on there too. And I was like, oh, that's actually really dope. And then there was like the cost. And then like, I don't know.
There's just a whole lot going on. So I think first let's talk about the size. So we've got these 60 plus bands. I can't help but be a little miffed that they call it the When We Were Young tour and there's no mention of the Killers.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if that bugs anyone else. I think it's a little disrespectful.
Yeah, well, and that I think that was something that I noted right away was what bands were on there. And a little bit of like which we're not. And I wasn't sure because like obviously on our channel we stay in tune with a lot more of like the metal scene, right? Which a lot of emo, it's not really metal.
Yes. And I listened to way more emo music than you did in high school. There's still a lot of these bands that I never listened to and I'm like, maybe I wasn't emo.
Right. But okay, so I'm gonna name a few bands.
So what are you you're naming a few bands for what?
A few bands that didn't make it.
Okay. Okay, so bands that you feel should be on this roster.
Yeah, or at least I don't know, maybe they should have at least a fair, I don't know, like they should be. They really should be.
Like if it was gonna go as big as what this show is claiming to be.
Yeah.
I think more of the nostalgic kind of like stereotypical bands you think of, I think more of them should have been there.
Yeah.
Yes, there are some fantastic names. I'm not saying that there are trashy bands.
And I think I should note on that first is that they did put together an incredible group of bands.
Yes.
And I think doing this sort of thing would be impossible to not leave somebody off the list. It would be impossible to get everybody
it would be
there.
Thousands.
And then not to mention the bands that are like, nah, we're not interested in that right now.
I will say there were bands on this list or on the actual like event list that I didn't even realize were still together.
True. And so like that may even come into it as well.
Yeah.
But I know that there's a few that's not the case for. But anyways, so the first one I thought of was Panic at the Disco.
Right. Where are they?
Right.
Where are they?
Right. At least I think. Right. Let me double check that because that should be.
It's such a massive poster.
Right.
It's so overwhelming.
Yeah, I don't see.
No, they're not on there.
Yeah. But then Fall Out Boy.
Where's Fall Out Boy?
They should be there, right?
They should absolutely be there.
All Time Low.
Are they not on this list? I could have sworn I saw them on there.
And I mean, whose emo playlist doesn't have Dear Maria?
That's uncomfortable. That's
right?
Ooh.
Like, come on.
I can't lie. I am hyped that Anne Boleyn is on there. I love Anne Boleyn. I love them.
Well, and that's the thing. There's some really good bands that I haven't even thought of, like for a while, and so like that would be so cool to see them, either again or for the first time. But then Census Fail, 30 Seconds to Mars.
I think, to be fair, I think Jared Leto is like, he's living his own best cult life. Like he is
that's fair.
He's doing his own thing. What 30 Seconds to Mars is doing right now is literally just like gaining cult followers, literal cult followers.
True. So, I had forgotten about his whole thing too.
About his whole Jesus life.
Evanescence. So this is another one. So both both Evanescence though and Panic at a Disco, they have both come out in recent years, or not even super recent years, but just saying like the songs that everybody wants them to play. For instance,
Bring Me to Life.
Yeah, Bring Me to Life. What's the Panic at the Disco one? Showing
I
Our
Write
True
Sins,
Colors.
Not Tragedies.
Yeah, that one. They hate those songs. Like they absolutely hate performing those songs, and it's because that's all everybody ever asks them to play, and they're like, I'm an artist. I want to play other stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, Amity Affliction, and then like you said, The Killers.
Where are they? How do they name a tour? When We Were Young, and they're like, you know who we're not going to invite? Brandon Flowers.
Right. Yeah.
Like I think, I'm pretty sure Mr. Brightside is still a charting song, like on the top 100, like always, like since the song has released, it has stayed on the charts.
Yeah.
Like it is never going away. The Killers are here to stay. They truly are timeless. I get a lot of people don't think they're emo.
Right.
So that's totally fine. They were one of those like kind of gray area bands, you know. But like, how do they name?
But this is also not emo fest. This is When We Were Young, right? And so I don't know.
There's a full gamut. You have some metal music. You have some emo music. You have, you
have like Knocked Loose, right?
Yeah,
I was stoked to see them on there. But then like 303 and who else is on there? That's
well, like Ice Nine Kills.
Yeah, Ice Nine Kills. So that's another question that I have too. Is and I think that kind of comes down to the amount of playtime that each band gets, right?
It's not going to be enough.
Yeah. And even when they announced the second day, they announced it weird. So
it's the same set a second day in a row.
That's what's weird about it to me, because they didn't give the bands more time. Because like, for instance, Ice Nine Kills, right? They're a smaller band on the poster, at least. But like, When We Were Young, right? The stuff that they were playing at like Warped Tour is way different from the stuff that they're playing now. Yes. And their following right now is listening to the stuff that they're playing now.
Yeah. Yes.
Right. So I'm curious too, like, what's their set list going to be?
Yeah.
Right. Because if it's not the Silver Scream and I was going to this, I don't know if I would say, oh yeah, I definitely got to see Ice Nine Kills, because there's so many other bands that you have to try to make work. And that's the other thing. So there are three stages, right? Or like rotating stages, but essentially 3 stages.
I know when I first read that they were going to have rotating stages, my brain literally was like, oh, they're going to be moving. And I was like, how does that help make the concert go smoother?
Being like 1,000 people back and you're like, what
and it's just
are
like
we
going across? Like that's literally what my brain pictured. And I was like, how would that help?
Right.
But anyway, I understand it now.
Yeah. So, but that's the thing, is like, if you're willing to go to this
event,
if you're willing to go to this bloodbath,
I saw a meme, and it's the WrestleMania meme. I have no idea who the wrestlers are, but there's this one wrestler like standing in the front, and he's got like a happy little face on, and then there's like one of the big like killer wrestlers behind him, and it was like
Undertaker
Avril France
one,
getting ready to listen to Skater Boy, and then it has
like
something
Knocked
like
Loose,
like Knocked Loose or 303 fans or something behind him getting ready to like slam dance in the pit or whatever.
Yep. Oh, it's so good. But yeah. So if you're going to go to this, right, you have to understand that you're okay with not seeing 2/3 of the bands on there,
at least,
right? And that's
at least,
and that's if you don't have 2 bands that are playing at the same time that you really like or whatever.
Could you imagine if you were like, all I want to do is see AFI and see 303 and see Jimmy Eat World. You're like, that's who I'm going for. And what if they were all playing at the same time?
Yeah.
Like, well, how devastating would that be?
Because then, even then, yeah, you're like paying all from this. So you'd be paying all that money, right? And then you are, yeah, you're running from one to one. But then, even with that second day announced, that's still one band that you don't get to see, right? Mm-hmm. And so I don't know. For me, so festivals, they're kind of interesting because like, you have to plan it out. You have to, like, if you're going to go and you're going to have a good time, you have to plan it out. You have to be able to go with a group of people that are like-minded.
Yes.
You know, yes, you can deviate from the group or whatever. But like,
it's a team effort.
Yeah, it's a team effort for sure. And if you just go and you don't have a plan, it's going to be so awful.
And stressful and overwhelming and sweaty. Yeah. And I don't do festivals anyway. Like, that's not my jam. Would I have made an exception for this? Possibly.
Yeah.
I think genuinely, if it wasn't COVID times, I would have found a way to get my social anxiety in check, at least for 24 hours, to get to this event.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't do festivals, but I think if I went to something like this, having never really been to a full-on festival, not really knowing what to expect, it would just be so overwhelming. I genuinely don't know if I would be able to enjoy myself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like and granted, like I said, I have social anxiety. I have a fear of large crowds. I have a lot of phobias that inhibit me from participating in things like this anyway.
Yeah.
But like, even with all of those, like if I put all of those aside, I don't know if I would be able to have a super, super good time because it is so overstimulating. It is so much information that you're taking in all of your senses all the time.
Well, and that's
for 12 hours.
Well, and that's the question too, though, is like, the bands that you're going to see, are they only going to have a 20-minute session? Are they only going to have
20 seconds?
20 seconds, right? But like, 20 or a 30-minute show, right? A set, right? And then is that worth it to you? Right? Now, I mean, there's definitely a handful of bands that like I would love to see live.
I mean, I think A Day to Remember, I think Bring Me the Horizon, All American Rejects, I think Boys Like Girls would be so much fun to see. But would I be able to be anywhere in this crowd of what I'm assuming is going to be tens of thousands of people?
Yeah.
To enjoy it.
Imagine too, though, like if they decided, whatever band, I'm trying to think, like Black Veil Brides, like if they only played their new stuff instead of like their nostalgic, like harder stuff.
Yeah.
Or something like that. That would be, I don't know. I feel like
if 303 didn't play Don't Trust Me.
Oh yeah.
The whole time people would be like,
why'd you do that?
Why did you even show up? Why were you even here? Why were you invited to
but
this?
At the same time, I don't think anybody's going for just 303. But
I would not. I wouldn't put. I don't know. Stranger things have happened.
But I do know people are just going for My Chemical Romance. And
okay, side note, I will interject. When everyone was like, "Is this fake? Is this a lie?" So 2 years ago, My Chemical Romance was like, "You guys, you're coming back. I've got goosebumps about this." They were like, we're going to do our tour. I'm going to get emotional just think about it. They're like, we're going to do our tour. My best friend reached out to me and she was like, I will buy these tickets right now if you say that you're in. And I was like, I have $0, but I'm in and I will pay you back. She bought the tickets. I paid her back. And then they were like, COVID, we're postponing till 2021, on October 2021. And then like July 2021, they were like, we're postponing again. So we have these tickets to a concert that has been postponed twice. And as far as I understand, I don't think there is an estimated date for this tour. And so there was a part of me that was like, this has to be fake because My Chemical Romance doesn't even have their own tour happening right now.
I remember,
because of COVID.
Yeah.
So why would they participate in a super spreader event?
Right. And that's okay. So I keep going back and forth. Like I was gonna say day to day, but this back and forth has happened like 20 times in the last 3 days. So of like, am I hyped for this? And would I really want to go? Yes. with it still being like
a full-on pandemic Lovato.
Yeah, man. Well, and I just think of
we went
to the emo night.
Yes.
A few months back
in Seattle.
And that is as things like started to like lull, and we were fully vaccinated and everything, wore our masks the whole time.
Well, and
like
everyone,
the whole deal.
So a lot of the bars in Seattle are like, oh, we're checking vaccination cards at the door. They did not check our vaccination cards.
They did not check.
There were definitely some people there with some runny noses and some hacky hacks that they were not weed coughs.
Afterwards, and by the way, we actually met a viewer of the show.
We did, Cody.
Yeah. I'll put a picture up here. But so that was really cool.
Yeah, it was super fun. So it was a super fun night. It was super cool.
Doubt. But then afterwards, we both felt like pretty grimy of like, and not just like after a show grimy, but like yeah.
In like pandemic grimy.
Should we have done that? You know? And I mean, this was a small show.
It was a small venue. It was a small show.
And I get that it's outside, but like, there's going to be thousands of people.
There's going to be thousands of people. And I think that perfectly transitions into the next phase of this, and that this is being put on by Live Nation.
Yeah.
Who puts on, granted, most concerts. But this is on the tail end of Astroworld. And if you've been living under a rock, Astroworld was a huge concert in Texas. Isn't that where it was? Where was
I'm not sure.
Hold on. Hold the phone.
If you haven't been living under a rock, we don't know where it was, but
yeah. It was in Houston, Texas.
Okay, yeah.
This was on November 5th. So this is
3 months?
2 months ago. 2 months ago.
Yeah.
There was a fatal crowd crush occurrence during the first night of the Astroworld Festival. It was during Travis Scott's performance. 8 people died, and I believe like 3 or 4 of them were literal children under the age of like 17. And what happens in crowd crush is you're literally asphyxiated standing.
Yeah.
And so these people were in a venue that funneled towards the stage. And when you have a venue that funnels, that's exactly what it's going to do with the tens of thousands of people who are trying to see the show. And a lot of times this occurs when people rush the stage and the crowd starts moving. And the venue that it was at did not have really good exit space around the sides. I believe this is like the second worst occurrence of crowd crush in history.
Yeah.
With the other one being a football tournament in the UK, like in the 80s, where like 90 people died.
Yeah. Don't
quote me exactly. I'm remembering a TikTok from 2 months ago.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I absolutely believe that Live Nation is trying to distract people from the lawsuits that are presently happening. The FBI is investigating this concert. I mean, families are trying to sue for like reckless endangerment and obviously the lost lives of their loved ones. And so I absolutely think Live Nation is trying to distract from that, and 2, trying to pay their legal fees, because Travis Scott is saying that he is not responsible for any of the he's saying he's not responsible for the crowd crushing event at all. And that's a whole other topic. I could talk about that for days and days, because he is absolutely responsible. And as we know in the alt music community, how many videos surfaced of bands stopping mid-concert to help one person, a single person experiencing something dangerous in massive crowds. So there was no excuse for him to not stop the show. I'm going to get off my soapbox about Travis Scott. So Live Nation putting on this show, I also think it is in poor taste to be happening, to be announced so soon after, but then also to be happening so close to the then 1-year anniversary of this horrific event.
Well, I think that's what it comes down to for me is a little bit more of poor taste, right? Is the poor taste of being in the pandemic still, but then also the poor taste of how closely it resembles Astroworld, right? And that they haven't I think Live Nation, yes, they are definitely responsible in ways, because they overpacked a venue that they had been told repeatedly could not house an event like this.
Yes.
It shouldn't have housed an event like this. And they haven't put out any sort of statements to I don't know, make themselves even look better.
Yeah.
And so going into this, I can't help but have the same worry. Now with the crowd, I will say this is the alt community, right? This is the alt music community. And like you said, we know how to handle a mosh pit. We know how to handle large crowds. Like, you know, that is something that's ingrained in us from small shows to big shows, all that sort of stuff. Now, does that mean that we're impervious to
right
to bad things happening? No, not at all. And so I do think that it is more, yeah, exactly like you said, it's in bad taste, that they haven't done anything. There should be some sort of messaging. There should be some,
like, if anything,
at least,
anything, I feel like there should be something like, hey, X percentage of your tickets goes to the families of the people who lost loved ones at Astroworld. Like, you can absolutely have wonderful things happen and enjoy wonderful things while still acknowledging the traumatic event.
Do you feel like that would be more perceived as like a cash grab though?
Oh, absolutely. Like there's not actually a way to do it in good taste. Like, I think that's kind of the thing with this. Like, they could have waited another year, or they could have planned it for like 3 months earlier, 3 months later, or something. And because of the company, nothing they would do, at least for myself, would be viewed in good taste. I don't think any of their actions would seem genuine. I don't think any of, unless like, it goes back to the last video where we were talking about accountability versus cancel culture.
Yeah.
And this company is not being held accountable for what happened.
For anything.
They're trying to say that they're being canceled. They're trying to say that people are being, dramatic or whatever. And the fact is like, there are things that this company could do on a small scale on a small private scale for just the families of these victims, and on a large scale to reinstill trust in the community, to reinstill excitement for future events. And there should be information on this webpage. There should be information on how to avoid things like crowd crush. How to they should specifically have these will be the medical centers we have available
getting
for you.
out in front of it. There should be statements of like, we have more EMTs on the scene. We have more whatever it is, just to give us a little bit of comfort in knowing that they are trying to provide a safer environment, right? I mean, it's a concert. It can only get so safe, right? But you can do things, right? There are things that you can do, and even if it's just a comfort of like, oh, it'll be okay. Like, we as concert goers, as the fans, like, we need to know that Live Nation does care about us even a little bit, that we're not just a cash grab for them. And I don't think that they've done anything to kind of prove that at all. I mean, they're a giant monopoly for these sorts of festivals and things, and they're not showing anything. There's nothing that I've seen that leads me to believe that they aren't just 100% in it for the money. And for me as well, so going back to the jumbling of whether this is a good thing or a bad thing, it's like, yes, these are all the bands that we want to see. These are a bunch of the bands that we want to see, at least. We would all love to be there, but at the same time, isn't it the alt crowd that should be like, maybe not like this?
And I think there's a really big portion of the alternative community that is not going to participate in this. I think there are a lot of people who are in a similar boat as us, that we are still in a pandemic. This is Live Nation. This is coming off the heels of Astroworld, and excuse me, and just a handful of other reasons why, and the fact that I genuinely have no desire to see 60 bands play in only 12 hours. For me, I would prefer at least 3 days, if not 4. We were talking about just a couple days ago that these festivals really need to take on how Comic-Con is done. And like the blueprint is there. Like the blueprint for how to make an event like this happen is there.
Yeah.
So you have daily passes available. You have
weekend passes,
bundles, and you have weekend passes.
Yep.
You have passes to certain exclusive events.
Yeah.
You have like you can literally buy for just exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah. Well, and then
that's what something like this should be.
And they do things like in Comic-Cons and things like that. They do things on certain days, right?
Yes.
Or like packs.
And
like
you have 6 months to a year's notice of what the lineup will be, who will be there on what day, and what to expect and how to. And like PAX West and Comic-Con, like the Emerald City Comic-Con, they put out information on like, hey, if this is your first con, this is the best way to do it. This is the best way to experience it. These are the ways that we would recommend participating so that way you can experience this to the fullest. And not just feel like you're wandering in a crowd of 10,000 freaking people.
And like they have the ability to have like one big headliner each night, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you just look at My Chemical Romance, Paramore, and Bring Me the Horizon, that kind of fills all three of the slots.
Agreed.
As like the big headliner, right? They could all pack out an entire festival.
Yes.
And so I think they could have done it right. They could have done it the right way, and that's still on Live Nation, right? They're the largest company, like conglomerate for this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And they should be doing better. And I know a lot of people well, that's the thing is I know a lot of people are gonna be like, you're just complaining, stop complaining. This is an amazing concert, this is an amazing festival, whatever. But like
it could still be done better.
It could have been done better. And like who, if not them, like who do they expect to do better? Right? Otherwise we're just gonna get a bunch of these half-assed festivals that are all the same. And like, yes, amazing people. I want to see these people. These are, when is the next time you're going to see some of these people at the same place, right?
Right. Possibly
maybe
never,
right?
Is it kind of like a once in a lifetime event? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Is it going to be incredible to be there and see these bands live? Yes.
Right.
Could it be experienced in a better way? Also, yes.
Yeah. And that's my thought on it, is that it should be done better. And you can even look at it even from the way that they're contacting the bands and the managers and all that sort of stuff. I know a lot of the bands that have like come out and been like, we didn't know that we were even supposed to be there or whatever. That was just sort of like them joking, right?
But then there have been a few. I think it was Hawthorne Heights.
Yeah,
it was Hawthorne Heights. But Hawthorne Heights was saying like, yeah, we remember being presented this like 6 months ago or so. And their lead singer was like, yeah, I kind of remember saying yes to it, but then like I didn't hear anything.
Yeah.
He was like, there was no communication afterwards. It was just like,
it was just the Vegas festival. They signed up for the Vegas festival, and then he said,
and there was no mention of like other bands really being at this event. And it was definitely, he said it was definitely not mentioned that it was like a 1 day, like massive festival. Like it was presented as like playing a show.
But then he tried to spin it too and say that like they are now playing with My Chemical Romance, right? And how amazing that is. And he was like, if we're supposed to be playing at the same time as them, like we're not gonna play. We're just and like, but how amazing that's going to be. And I think that comes back to like the other side that I keep flopping to is like, if you want to go see My Chemical Romance, like this is probably your best shot.
Yeah. Cause apparently my ticket is now an NFT, and that like, who knows? It's just sitting out there in the interwebs.
And I mean, it was about the same price. So
literally,
you could see a My Chem show, or you could see a My Chem show with 60 other bands.
That's that's a very fair point.
And I
think the tickets were almost exactly the same price.
I think that's like,
I think the My Chem tickets were more.
Were they?
Okay, yeah, my ticket to My Chemical Romance was more. The ticket was $260.
Okay. So
for one band, but it's fine. So, I'm not bitter.
And okay. So like, if there's a couple of bands that you absolutely want to go see, and like that's worth the $250 or $300 or $400 that you're gonna end up paying for these tickets, like I get it. That makes sense. Go see the bands. But I don't think that we should let festivals get away with this. I mean, like,
yes,
it's
no,
just,
we should demand better. We should get what we want. Like, if we're going to be paying $200, $300, $400 for these shows, they should be the way we want them.
Yeah, I agree. Like,
we should be able to enjoy it to the fullest.
And I still just keep wondering why the Linda Lindas.
Yeah,
that's why are
very
they there?
Interesting. So you're of the mindset of why are they there? Because they weren't there when we were young. Because they are babies. Yeah. They're like 12. I'm of the mindset of why are they there when some of these band members have sexual assault charges and misdemeanor rape charges against them.
I mean, that's true too. Yeah.
They can't be around the Linda Lindas.
Yeah.
So there's that aspect of it.
But also, like, why are they there? And it's just none of the other bands.
I know, and the Killers aren't.
Right? I mean, and no hate to the Linda Lindas. Like, sure. Like, this is probably an awesome experience for them.
I mean, hell yes. But they're literally like 13.
But like, why are they there?
Yeah. No, it's
I don't get it.
It makes sense why a lot of people thought it was fake.
Yeah.
I think it boils down to it's when you start digging into it and you really start looking, it makes a lot of sense why everyone was like, no, this is probably a lie.
Yeah.
This is someone trolling. This cannot be real.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it does seem, you used the phrase, it looks haphazardly put together.
Yeah.
And it does. When you start looking at it in detail, it looks like a few people were just like, how many bands do you think we can get to play? Do you think we can get this band? Do you think what if we just plan it and then tell all the bands to be there?
Yeah.
That's what it seems like.
It's a cash grab for the companies. It's not a cash grab. And I mean, it's going to be great for the bands that are there. That's awesome. But at the same time, like, so looking at tickets for us, flying down there, hotel stay, all that sort of stuff, the concert or the event tickets themselves, and then not including food, that's like $1,600 basically.
Yes. And that's saying we got real cheap Southwest tickets.
Right. And I
prefer
just
to fly Alaska
I don't
Airlines.
know. And that's where I keep coming back to is I just feel like I could find some smaller venues maybe when other bands come through that I really want to see. But also I could spend a bunch of money on merch.
Yes. Yeah.
Instead.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I think there's the two sides.
There's more than two sides. You know those gamer dice?
Dice?
The D&D dice that everyone's making and selling. They look super cool.
You're wonderful.
That have like 12 or 13 sides or something like that. That's what this is. This is one of those dice or die. I don't know.
Yeah.
Singular form of dice.
Tell me you've never played D&D without telling me you've never. No.
I have no shame. I have never played. Whatever. That's whatever. I don't know. As from my personal perspective, I want more immersive experiences.
Mm-hmm.
I want it to be I want to be able to feel like I'm this is just for myself. This is not speaking for anyone else. I want to be able to feel like I am the only person at this show.
Yeah.
And I want to feel as if this band is there for me, just me. And don't get me wrong, I love going to concerts. It's super fun. But after a certain point, for myself, the crowd becomes overwhelming. The crowd becomes overstimulating. The crowd becomes distracting.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not fun. And I also, yes, the alternative community is full of lots of amazing people. But I've also been to a lot of shows where it'll be packed. I will never forget a Blue October concert we went to at the Sunshine Theater. The venue was packed. We were center, we were like front of the crowd, just to like stage left.
Yeah.
And it was towards the end of the show. Justin was playing a bunch of acoustic music. And I mean, their music is really emotional. So like by this point of the concert, like there was a lot of emotions, but it was super calm. It was super quiet. And in the middle of, oh God, what song was it? It was in the middle of like an acoustic version of Into the Ocean or something. This drunk dude in the back goes, "Fuck you!" and ruined everything. And I was so angry.
Yeah.
Because like the entire community was there to enjoy this wonderful intimate moment.
Right.
And it was just Justin on stage. So it was Justin with us. It was just us. Like, and this fucking douchebag in the back ruined the whole thing. So like, yes. Do I think it would be a lot of fun? Do I think a lot of people would behave themselves and have a good time? Absolutely. Do I think there would be a bunch of assholes who would ruin a lot of it for a lot of people? Yes.
Yes.
And I also just don't want to put myself through that.
And okay, so I'm gonna be the flip side to that then, because I love festivals and I love obnoxious concerts, and I think it's hilarious when the dude in the back yells, because like everybody's like, "You're stupid."
I never wanted to go sock someone in the face more, and I think you stopped me from like turning around and like causing a scene.
Might have, but then also I have to remind myself too that not everybody experiences a concert from my perspective.
Tall's perspective,
right? Yeah, 6'2" and like at least 200 pounds, right? Yeah. Depending on the time of the year,
like,
but like, right,
depending on the depression,
right? But yeah, like I don't get claustrophobic in concerts, right? I mean, there's like a lot of people there, and of course you're close. Like we've been to some really
packed shows,
packed shows, but like uncomfortable, sure, but like I don't know, I can still breathe.
I am chest height.
Whereas
people.
Whereas you like you can't, like,
no.
that's
no.
What fun is that, smelling some dude's back for an hour?
It's not fun.
Like,
it's crummy.
So I can appreciate where you're coming from, but I also don't agree personally, because I would love to go to the festival.
But see, okay, the idea of going sounds delightful.
Yeah.
The logistics of going, again, with like my personal anxieties, sound horrendous. Do I think I could probably find a way to have fun? Yes.
Yeah,
Are some of those ways allowed in the venue? No. So it would make it a little bit. It would make it a little bit harder.
It's legal there, right?
Isn't everything legal in Vegas?
I think so.
Almost everything. Lots of the fun things are legal in Vegas. Anyway, that's another thing. Actually, just a quick side note. That's another thing that a lot of people are really irritated with. This venue has a huge list of things you cannot bring.
Okay.
Now, to the festival...
No crowbars.
Well, that. But to the festival community, who are like going to these shows like every weekend, I'm tired just thinking about that. But there are no like hula hoops. There are no glow sticks allowed. There are
okay. I gotcha.
Like a lot of the stuff that these people bring to like dance and participate in the festival are not being allowed at this venue. So there's a huge group of people who are pissed off about that. There's a lot of people who are pissed that like can't bring certain things into the venue with you, but you've never been able to. You can only buy like alcohol at the venue.
Right.
You also like, it doesn't matter where these shows are. It's not like you can like buy weed there. Yeah. Legally.
Right.
But like,
there's a dude there.
A lot of people are really upset at the massive list of things that you can't bring. And then a lot of people are just really confused at like how this ticket pricing is going. They're offering these like package deals with like a hotel room for like, but it's a minimum of like 4 nights. And people were like, if the concert is only 1 day, why do I need a 4-night hotel stay? Or like it's a 2 or 3 night hotel stay, something like that.
Yeah.
And so there was that. And then the price of the hotel bundle. So the tickets start at $224.
Yeah.
The hotel bundle starts at like 4 something, but it's the hotel for upwards of 4 people, but only 1 admission.
Oh, weird.
So you can get the hotel for $400. You get your admission ticket. But if you are sharing that hotel room,
3 people have to
get their own tickets.
And since it's sold out now, like, did all of your 3 friends get the tickets?
We hope so.
Which brings me to another point. I guess I could go on my own if I got a press pass, but I don't think that a YouTube channel with 7,000 subscribers would be issued a press pass.
Maybe not. But would I be offended if you went without me? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
I would be so mad.
I know you would be.
Do you remember Rise of the Lycans?
Yeah,
remember that?
You never let me live that one down. Yeah.
No, I think this show could have been incredible. I think it is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
But I think it could have been something that was spectacular and incredible and would have had a slightly less high chance of being a total shit show if they had planned things out a little bit differently. That's just me.
Makes sense to me.
I'm not an events coordinator. So
maybe you should be.
Maybe I should be. I don't know. No, that sounds terrible. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. No. Anyway, we've been ranting for a really long time.
Yeah, it's been like an hour. No, it's been 40 minutes.
We could talk way longer about this, but I think you get the gist of our feelings of this event. Will I have a little bit of FOMO? Yes. No doubt. No doubt in my mind. I might have a lot of bit of FOMO.
Somebody live stream it.
Because that will totally be allowed. I'm sure.
I'm going to stop people.
Fair point. All right. Well, I don't know. I'm sure there will be some amazing Twitter live streams and TikTok live streams. But I guess at this point, let us know what you feel. Are you going? Did you get tickets? Do you think this is a bad idea? Do you think it's a great idea? Do you think we're being ridiculous with our opinions?
And more importantly, who do you think should have been there instead of the Lindas?
Those poor children, Joshua. They're out there. They're about to get like so much
in before like the
press for this.
Why are you gatekeeping the Lindas? I'm not gatekeeping. I just,
I just don't think they should be there. Okay.
Where were they when we were young? Probably nowhere yet.
Oh, yeah, probably not. They're literally only like 12.
Yeah.
So they were born after the year 2000. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this long-ass rant. Hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, okay. If you did, you can hit that thumbs up button. And if you're new here and you liked what you saw, you can click the subscribe button and maybe get us to 8,000 subscribers. And who knows, maybe that would get us a back or whatever pass you said.
A press pass.
Press pass.
Yeah, that'll totally get us a press pass. We'll get there.
Absolutely.
That's depressing. All right. Dad joke of the day out of the way. Depressing. Like press pass.
Okay.
Yeah. It's always funnier when I have to explain it. I think that's how jokes work, right?
Anyway, thank you so much for watching. We will see you next time.